6ix9ine Essential.
Check out Essentials 003. I believe Pop Smoke, what is it? Meet the Woo is leading that playlist out there right now.
Oh, that's banger.
How does it go? I need to like.
You just gotta bob your head because that's all that's gonna happen once it plays.
Interesting.
Yeah, seriously.
Shawty, you gonna meet the woo?
But you got to believe gang culture is so huge in music. You know, like not even just New York if you think about it, but you look at like Roddy Ricch, who's a Crip, right? That's so heavy in his music. But he doesn't even do it in like an in-your-face way, but it's there all the way through, especially his like latest album. And you see like where he's from and stuff like that.
Yeah, New York, specifically New York has been through a whole transformation and deconstruction and then transformation.
6ix9ine.
Deconstruction and this whole thing has like influenced the people living there from living in.
Hey, you think Charlamagne's gonna suck him up, bro?
Where is all this coming from? We like left
If he
field
gets
with
out,
this shit. What?
If he gets out,
No.
Why would
he's not
Charlamagne
doing
do
that?
because he
What
bet
he
him.
said?
He told him.
Yeah, he did say it, but
He said it.
What did he say? I need to hear the whole thing. What is
I don't care,
Charlamagne said
though.
he would suck 6ix9ine's dick if he beat the case. 6ix9ine didn't beat the case, though.
I mean,
He beat the case.
He did
He's
not.
coming out
He
in
got-
a year, bro.
that's not beating the case. You're coming out.
He's
what?
still in prison.
Yeah, like you don't go to prison if you beat the case.
Yeah.
Why is this urgent?
No, I'm like when he said it, I was just like
He got-
I felt like it was a lie.
He
but
got out of a RICO charge with 2
he
years.
snitched on everybody.
Yeah, that's how you get out of that.
I think
Because Rico is going
6ix9ine
through
really
everybody.
tarnished gang culture in New York.
But what is gang culture in New York, right? Like, I mean, even gang members know that, like, the gangs that they're in, it's harmful to them. But there's other gangs that kind of just like help the community, right? So, like, what is gang culture, like, in the terms of rap?
It's a kind of like, if you think about it, like all the people that weren't really fit to survive,
Mm-hmm.
they all just gathered together because they're not fit to survive in the normal settings that everybody else is used to, you know, like go get a job, go do this.
Mm-hmm.
You got school, you got friends, family, everybody. You got a whole network of people willing and able to help you survive in these settings that our society has, you know, made us try to survive in. But when there's people that can't, you know, kind of live within those settings, well, what happens to them? They get excluded. So then what happens to all those people? That's millions of people excluded. What do you think's going to happen? They're going to create their own society. And in a way, that's what gangs are. I mean, you come from New York specifically. I'm just talking about New York. I don't really know New York like that. But I've read a little bit of history. And, I mean, like I said, deconstruction, construction, deconstruction, construction. So the settings have been changing forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that has, you know, shifted people from being part of the normal society to being exiled and then forming gangs to survive. Forming gangs to kind of hold that structure that was supposedly something for them to live in and not able to now. And, you know, they're like, okay, so we're going to make our own.
I want to kind of, so is that in a negative way or positive?
It could be taken anyway. I mean, if you look at our quote unquote perfect society, we also have corruption
I mean, like
within
in gangs, though.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say is like, it doesn't, you're going to have it regardless and more in gangs because it's not as structured. It's not as, you know, sophisticated as this giant system
Police
outside
gangs.
of it.
Yeah.
I mean, police gangs are part of the government,
Jail
which is part of
gangs.
another,
Which is-
group, which is part of another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to find groupings of people regardless if they're good or bad.
Military gangs.
Pretty much.
I mean, so again, like, what is gang culture in rap, right? Because
What is it?
I've heard like some gang culture where you have like MS-13 always coming out with like their own lyrics, and especially like in LA.
Yeah.
And they already just had that whole entire MS-13 where 96 people were arrested over at, I think it was Long Island. They got arrested and brought in, right?
Mhm.
But most of their lyrics typically promote like violence, right?
Yeah.
Where then you have other gangs
That's
who are also in gang culture that don't I mean, they have to dabble in it sometimes, but they don't particularly like use that as their pedestal to get more recruits. It's like, hey, let's hang out. I'm gonna help you out. Maybe
Yeah.
we're in a gang. I mean, Black Lives Matter movement was turned into a gang by other people
By
saying
white people.
yeah, exactly. By other people saying it was a gang, but it was a movement to help other people. So
Yeah, I
We're-
mean,
gang
sorry.
life in rap.
Yeah, a lot of gang culture that I think people forget about is the positive things that gangs
Yeah.
do for people too. You
Like I
know,
said,
like
you gotta
a lot
thrive,
of gangs
survive.
will do food drives, clothes drives. They'll
Mhm.
help people out in their neighborhood,
Shout out
and
to the
that's
Black
what a lot
Panthers.
of people
Yeah,
seek
right.
in the first place. You
Mhm.
know, when you don't have anybody, when you feel outcasted, or just say in the environment, that's just kind of what is perpetuated, right? Just
Mhm.
kind of leaving people alone. You'll look for that gang because you're looking for family, and when you think about it, that's a positive. Like, oh,
Mhm.
these people are going to embrace me and everything like that. Now, negatives come with it. There's always
And
a negative
positive.
with positives and stuff like that, but they really do a ton for people. And
Yeah.
everything.
I mean, like, what is like Hell's Angels a gang, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot
But
of
not
that
like in the law.
Motorcycle gang.
motorcycle.
But not in like the way the law would perceive. Like
No.
Hell's Angels
No.
compared
No,
to
it's a
No,
gang.
it's a
It's
gang.
a real
It's a
gang.
gang.
No, I
a
know
real
it's a gang, but
No, the law
The law
classifies
says
it as
Yeah,
a
it's
gang.
a real gang.
I
There's a bunch of
challenge that because there was a point where they would look at, let's say, and I'm going to say like mostly Caucasian-based groups as not gangs.
White devils
But
is
then
what I like to call
they
them.
just recently said like all shootings were now classified as terrorism, where before it wasn't. And when I asked about like gang culture in rap, I was asking mostly like the way that we perceive gang culture in rap is, for the most part, is usually negative. Like the people who get the most clout and people who get put up on the highest pedestal is usually through violence. 6ix9ine, like that's an extreme. That's insane that his music vibes with so many people to not hurt people, but they rock to it. And I mean, it's a good beat, and that comes back to, is it beat that people like, or is it lyrics?
The beat.
Because if it's lyrics, then that's fucked up.
No, I think a lot of it's lyrics. Like when, all right, I like 6ix9ine. Okay, I think he could be a good guy.
found him.
all right? Okay,
Police.
listen. I like 6ix9ine.
Call the cops.
When I listened to some of his music, it made me, the white guy who does nothing wrong like ever,
What's
want to
next?
hit licks, rob people.
Jeez.
Like I was like, man, hyped up constantly, and that was because of his lyrics, not necessarily just the beat. I mean, you could have put that beat over like, or you could have put those lyrics over like next.
So
to
you're
anything,
telling
and
me
I was just
Gomo
hyped.
wasn't hard because of the beat?
Gumbo was definitely hard because of the beat, but
I still say 50-50. I mean, there's occasions you're going to see that the lyrics outshine the beat, and then vice versa. And it's just all depends on your taste and what you're into and what your environment has you surrounded by. I mean, when we get to the gang part, I feel like it's like the gangs kind of notice like, hey, we're in a die and breed situation. How do we go out with a bang? And then the music industry was like, well, we'll open arms, come in, you know, and was like, it's their new home. It's their new outlet to promote themselves. It's their new, and it, for the good and the bad that came along with that. I mean, it just all depends on, you know, your environment that you're in. Like for some people, it was a good thing because it built self-esteem, or, I mean, I'm just throwing hypotheticals out there, but it, you know, it promoted people to kind of get this backbone that they never had.
Is that how you felt?
Not specifically, but that's how I see the public that never ever understood gang culture and now is being kind of like bombarded by it through the music. Like, you know, it kind of builds you into having sort of feelings of, you know, feelings you don't never had, aggressive feelings, or, you know, just, and, you know, that could all be directed in a good way or in a bad way. It just depends on the individual and their environment that they're surrounded by. If you're somebody who's surrounded by killers and all you're listening to is music about killing, you know what's going down. But if you're, you know, going down, you know, the nice street and, you know, you're just going down to get your coffee and, you know, you're like banging some hard ass like rap music and like, you're just like, fuck yeah, I'm ready for the day. Nothing's going to stop me. Like,
But is it
I
the
picture-
beat or is it the lyric
like
that
I
pumps
said,
you
50-50, man. Because you can't really say it's the beat or the
Mhm.
lyrics because you just can't say everybody has the same taste and that
Yeah.
everybody's going to have.
that's such an
That's true. up?
individualistic
But then
thing.
I feel like that's
What's the
but
majority?
That's obvious, right? 'Cause
What's the
then you have
majority?
The
You could-
people that, like, it's obvious, right? Because then you have the people that know what their life is about and know like where they're heading, and so they have that strong fix of going, I'm not gonna let something like deter me
Mhm.
and let it be like music,
Yeah.
right? Like then you can say, oh well, I played Mortal Kombat. I'm not gonna like fucking
Finish him.
yeah, finish someone in like I don't know Publix because my sub wasn't made the right way.
Right.
But then you have those people that I mean, just how you say, I mean, maybe they're kicked down. You have the incels. You have people like that who, if you not know what incel is like involuntary celibacy. It's the people that usually cause the mass shootings that will listen to things and be like, you know what, I'm about this. Like, I'm not saying rap and gang culture provide like a way for them to be like, oh, I'm just, you know, this is my hype music, but you never know, right? And a lot of times where you have like what Nipsey,
Yeah.
like he
R.I.P.
wanted,
Nipsey.
yeah, he
R.I.P.
wanted people to come together, right? Yeah. Positive, but then you have 6ix9ine, blood, rainbow teeth, whatever. He was.
Let me throw you an
right?
analogy, you know, or just a metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only difference between that and the military is how you picture it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Like-
a good metaphor.
One's backed by the law and then one's not.
Well, outside of just laws and whatnot, it's the same thing. Like just like Nipsey is a good person from a bad situation that he was trying to regroup people, so are people in the military. Like they're surrounded by horrible situations, but they're in their minds, they're trying to gather everything for the better. They're trying to do all this for the better. And I mean, that's all it is. It's just your environment and the things you're surrounded by and your own personal taste that's going to dictate how you view these things.
Mixed one, essential.